Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Sambassador Friday Fun Days. This is the place where it always happens. Shannon says it happens on Wednesday. I say it happens on Friday. Man, I am so excited and honored to have an old-time friend, somebody that I knew long back before. Well, I guess I've been in sheds my whole life, but since I've been in sheds this last time, I've got friends and buddies that are in the shed business that I've literally known my whole life. And this guy, Irvin Plank, is a cousin to my wife. And I don't know. I remember you from way back when. I don't know if you remember me or not, but 35 years ago. Irvin Plank, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It has been a long time. Yeah, I don't remember much about you from way back, but it's hard to forget. It's hard to forget you once you met you, that's for sure.
That's I don't know. Some people say I'm a big dude and I'm larger in life, but I try to stay in my little box and it doesn't always work real good. I was talking to you, talking to Shannon about you a little bit and mentioned, you come from Montezuma, Georgia, which is almost, for years, it was like the shed capital of the South long before anybody else was getting into it. And my wife just has a ton of cousins there because her dad was from there. And there was 3 or 4 brothers moved in there and a couple sisters. And they're all, it's kind of like Abbeville. They're all tied together. They all know each other. For those of you guys,
5 or 6 brothers and a couple sisters, and most of them had 10 to 12 children. So they have certainly replenished South Georgia, that's for sure.
Yep. And it's cool to see where all they've gotten scattered out to since then. Here we go on a rabbit trail. I told you we'll get on some rabbit trails. But the other day, it's been a couple weeks ago now. I had a couple guys show up from Martinsburg, Ohio, to work on some of our storm relief sheds. They wanted to come in and do some finish out work on the inside of them and stuff.
Yeah.
And this dude, Brandon Yoder, showed up with a couple of his buddies and stuff. And we get to talking there for a little bit. And I looked at him. I said, dude, you got to be from Montezuma, Georgia. And he looked at me kind of a little bit and grinned a little bit. And he goes, I am. I'm like, who in the world, who are your parents? And he was like, Glenn Yoder. And I'm like, you kidding me? He's a shed hauler down there. Yeah, he's a shed hauler. And so here's a funny thing about Glenn. I knew Glenn even longer than I did anybody from Montezuma because way back in the 80s, I don't know why. I don't remember if he worked with my sister at Hillcrest or if we both happened to be there the same time at Camp Week when everybody cleans that place.
Oh, yeah.
But we met up at Hillcrest, and he actually he got in trouble because we got the van stuck in the river on the day off people. And I don't know, we were fording the river where they normally do, and I don't know what happened, but somehow we got the van stuck. And that's what I remember about him. He says don't remember. He says he don't even remember the story. So I'm like, well, maybe you did it so often you don't remember doing it. But it's just the man. You meet the guys up in Alabama, Coleman area up there. They're related. They got ties back. And if you take it back even further, you go back to Norfolk, Virginia, where they all come from. Yeah. Those 5 brothers and sisters. Now, all of a sudden, like my daddy-in-law, he would have been born in Norfolk before they ever moved to Montezuma. Now, all of a sudden, you tie in with where I grew up in Kentucky. Most of those people came from Norfolk.
Yeah, and I got a neighbor out here. Now, I live in the middle of nowhere. And actually, he's the guy that does some delivering for me here locally. And my parents were out here for my 50th birthday a couple months ago, and he's talking to my dad, and he tells my dad, I don't know, they're chit-chatting, and he said that his grandpa, or I think he said it was his grandpa, used to live in Norfolk, and my dad was born there. And he said, well, what's his name? He said, he told him his name. He's a Peachy. And he said, oh, yeah, that's our neighbor, lived just down the road. They moved to Pennsylvania. I don't remember what part of Pennsylvania. There was another group of them went up there all about the time that all those, all those farms could be sold for all that money because of development
Yep.
coming in, and they scattered
Yep.
about. I didn't know they went to Pennsylvania, but I guess some people they went all over the place when that happened.
That's when those farms started selling. That's man. What that would have been like most of that happened late 60s, early 70s.
No, well, Montezuma started 53. I think they showed up down there in about 53, 54.
Okay, so it's even older than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite the deal how all those people scattered out. But yeah, that's there's a lot of I run into people at random places that you're related to in some fashion. And
Yeah.
one thing I like to read, and ever since I was a little guy, I read genealogy books. I read anything that was in the library at my
Yep.
dad's house, and so I knew a lot of people that I was kin to. And every now and then I run into someone and they tell me, like, nah, I ain't got no relation with that name. And then they tell me, most of it comes from those people that went to South America or Central America, and I kind of forget
Oh,
about.
yep.
Don't really know as well how I'm connected to them, but yeah, the world is quite small at times.
Yes, it is. Shannon has made the comment many times, big world, small industry when it comes to connections.
Oh man.
I love talking to the locals here about the shed industry because they can't fathom how big an industry it is that they don't even know about. They have 2 sheds in their backyard, but they're just like, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, well, everybody in America's, got sheds.
That's right.
And they're like, man, they're just like, they just think it's crazy how I get people from all over the place, especially bringing sheds in, for people.
Oh man. And let me tell you something that you just said. Let me give you another little nugget there. When you said Martinsburg, I knew exactly what you were talking about. My wife is from Martinsburg. To whenever I go to Martinsburg, I go out and see Brandon, and it's only about 5 minutes from where we stay, where
Oh,
my
my
wife
word.
worked, and her family, and all her family's right around there. But yeah, I go see Brandon every time I'm up there.
Oh, my word. That is crazy. Yeah. I knew your wife was from Ohio, but I forgot she was from Martinsburg.
Yeah,
That's
that's where
crazy.
she's
So,
from.
yeah. So you just turned 50.
I did.
I was going to ask you how close you are in age to me. I knew you were just a hair younger, but you're only 3 years difference from me. So yeah, that's wild.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might have
All right,
got
so
80 years of living in your 50 years, but
yeah. But some days I feel like I'm 80. I'm tired.
yeah.
So let's get back to your introduction a little bit. I interrupted you. So you're somewhere out in Nevada?
I am. Yeah. We are. I live in Eureka, Nevada, which is Eureka, Nevada is called the friendliest town on the loneliest highway in America. Where I live, we're a long ways out here, and I am a partner in a company called Out West Buildings. That's over in Fallon, which is an hour east of Reno.
Yeah.
And I have 180 miles to the shop. So
Oh,
needless to say,
Lord.
I don't go to my shop every day or anything. I get over there several times a month. But yeah, we're just to give you a bit of an. So most of the people, the reason we don't have a shop here where I live is because there's just not that many people here. We put it up over there, and the bigger population in northern Nevada is um within 2 hours, 2.5 hours of our shop there in Fallon, and then we have all of Northern California. Sacramento's only 3 hours, maybe a little over 3 hours to Sacramento.
Yep.
And so we're on the eastern edge of a big population. From
Okay.
me to the town of Fallon is 180 miles. I don't go through one stoplight or a stop sign to get there. And I'm on
No
the
way.
highway the whole way.
180 miles.
And I go through one little bitty town. It's not an incorporated town. They have a gas station, 2 bars, I think, a hotel or so. but a church or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty remote. And just an idea of the county I live in, Eureka County. If you drew it on a map, it's the shape of Delaware, twice the size of Delaware, and it has 1,500 people in it.
No way. Twice the size of Delaware and has 1,500. You got any property for sale out there? You looking for any new neighbors?
I just talked to a customer of mine a while ago. She was trying to sell me some land. Now, huge amount of this land out here is BLM and Forest Service. So it's actually a very small percentage is private. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but
yeah. Do you get to hunt that? Can you hunt that property?
Yeah. You mean the public land? Yeah, you can hunt it. If you get it tagged, you'll get it drawn for everything.
Oh yeah. Sure.
So
yeah. So you build sheds?
We do. Yep.
Cool.
We've been doing that for 10 years. In March, it was 10 years.
So do you build sheds and sell off of one lot there? Do you have dealers? Do you have sales lots? How do you move your sheds?
Yeah, right now we sell most. When I say most, I mean upper 90% of our sheds are sold right through our main office, right at our headquarters where we build. And we have some display lots. We did go down the road with the classic having consignment sheds at feed stores and different places like that. And boy, it's there's a big learning curve to get dealers. And I hear people talking about this a lot more now than they used to. But I didn't know this when we got into it. I got introduced into this world through hauling, and so I knew how the dealer thing worked. And boy, I'll tell you what, people, if they're not geared to sell for you, it's been my experience and just talking to other people, it sounds like it's the same thing. If they're selling feed, they're selling feed. They sell a shed. They sell a shed to someone who comes and says, I want that thing right over there. It's not a high priority in their life. And so that we kind of phased out a couple of years ago when we started trying to do a little bit more of the online, selling with online leads and that sort of thing, and getting people to talk to our people in our office.
Yes.
What we tried to do. And that's where we're at right now. I sell some sheds over here at my house. I got property here. I sell some sheds and shipping containers. I would be really the only dealer that we have, but I don't really set the world on fire over here, as you could imagine.
Yep. I got a big day tomorrow. I have a fully finished 18 by 40 cabin that's going to require 2 to 3 meals to get it delivered. Way back in the sticks and down a dirt lane. With all the rain we've had lately, it's going to be a mess. But it needs a bigger mule.
Well, when you talk, Cardinal listens, and you asked for it. With its diesel-powered 69-horse engine and capacity to move 40,000-pound sheds, the Mule 9069 is ready to turn your big days into just another day in the good life.
Ah, that's right. You're talking about the one they had up in Michigan at the shed show. That monster mule, that thing was awesome.
That's right. It's the one you've seen at all the shed hauler barbecues.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like a little diesel donkey to make my day go so much better.
Worth having.
Where were you hauling sheds?
In Montezuma.
Okay. So that was before you moved out.
No. I moved out west. I grew up down there milking cows, and I moved out west to the reason I say the reason. I wanted to go see the West, but I figured I needed to go see the West before I get married. I was 21 years old, and you hear a lot of people talking about they wish they'd have done this or that before they get married. So I moved out to Colorado. That was in '96. And
oh wow,
yeah, and I did that for about 5 years, or 4 years. 4 years I was in construction, worked on some wheat farms, and just a second here. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Anyhow, where was I? Oh yeah, and And then I learned that people made a living. I got out here and learned that people were making a living out in the wilderness horseback. And my eyes got real big. I like wilderness hunting, all that sort of stuff, living out in the sticks. And so I went and learned and got into cowboying. And I did that in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and I ended up in Nevada in '03. And I liked it here and didn't want to leave. And I got an opportunity I had a place to run cows that I could get my own cows and run my own cows and, lease grass from a rancher, a friend of mine. And I didn't want to go in debt. So, and I'd heard about my dad. My dad had started building sheds for Dirksen down there in Montezuma, I think in '02. And I was talking to some of these drivers who were good friends of mine, and I was listening to them talk about the money they were making, and it didn't take much money for me to live. I lived out here in the sticks. It just did not take much, and I'm sitting there, my eyes got big. I can pay for a bunch of cows and do this for 2 years. So that's what I did. I went back down there and hauled sheds for 2 years. And talking about a roundabout circle now. You were talking about Glenn a while ago.
Yep.
I kept that trucking company. I did that for 2 years, moved out here, came back out, bought my cows, horses, truck, trailer. I brought my truck out here that I was hauling sheds with. Yep. And I left my trailer down there and kept my trucking business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a driver. I hired my brother. I think my brother drove for me for 1 year. And then John Hirschberger drove for me for 2 years, and I sold it to him. I sold my business to him, and he sold it to Glenn.
No way.
Yes, sir.
What?
That's the route that Glenn ended up with.
Oh, my word.
But anyhow,
that's crazy.
That right there, through that whole experience, that's where I learned about the shed business and got interested. I don't know if I was completely interested in at the time of maybe I got in the cow business out here. I loved what I was doing. You couldn't have got me out of it or no. I mean, I loved what I was doing. But the opportunity came up with this partner of mine who's another rancher, and he had some money he wanted to invest in something, and I was working for him for a little while, and we kind of got to talk. It took us several years to get anything put together, but I kind of wanted more than one flow of income, just be a little more diversified. He wanted to do the exact same thing, and that's kind of what was the impetus, I guess, in just getting that thing moving and getting going with it.
Yep. So do you still have cows?
I do not. I sold. I have a milk cow. That's all I got. 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the ranch I was on. So that ranch I was on, I left there in 2010. I think in the winter of 10. The place I was on when I first came back out here, and then I got hooked up with a guy that had a ranch here. He wintered close 20 miles south of where I live. The cows would be out there for the winter. Then in the summertime, they would go north 200 miles, and I would go up there and take care of them up there. And so I was taking care of about 350 head. And I did that every year until through 17. I think it was through 7. No. We got married in 15, 16 I did it, 17 we had a baby. We had a baby in 16, and 17 I didn't go back up for the summer.
Okay.
We stayed down here, and I didn't do that summertime thing. But I kept taking care of them in the wintertime, 6 months in the wintertime until 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
And when he sold his cows, when he sold the ranch, the new guy was not, he was kind of one of those flaky kind of jokers, and he wanted me to stay there, but he never really would give me a good answer on how it would look. I just sold my cows, and I had plenty of things to do in the shed business, keep me busy until I found another opportunity. So I do not have cows today. I go help neighbors and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So did y'all cattle drive them up there, or did you haul them?
We hauled them. No, we hauled them.
Loaded them up and hauled them up there and dropped. Yeah. Okay.
And you would love this, man. You're an old truck driver, man. John, the guy that I run the cows for, with that owned the ranch, and every spring and every fall, he had his own truck. His
Yeah.
sister was the first licensed female elk guide in the state of Wyoming. She came and haul our cows back and forth. There's a 9-hour circle.
9-hour circle.
9 hours. And the last year that she drove, she was 72 or 73, I think.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a professional truck driver. Now, she didn't jump up and down in the bull wagon. We did all that for her, but she was just
That's amazing.
when you put those cows on that truck with her,
She'd run them.
they were taken care of, buddy.
That's crazy. Oh, my word.
And you know what she does when what she called that her vacation.
Well, I guess if you're an elk guide, I can only imagine what that entails, climbing up and down hills all day long.
Yeah, well, she ain't been an elk guide for many, many years, but now she manages a convenience store that sells, I think she said, she gave me the numbers, but I think it was around 30 tons of fried chicken every year.
30 tons?
Yeah, she's over there. She's just north of Suarez over there in Utah. She's just north of him about 30 miles.
Yeah.
She's in a convenience store up there.
No way.
And she works 7 days a week, and she takes a vacation and works for us 12, 15 days at a time, making 9-hour trips.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh, my word. That is a pile of chicken getting moved.
Boy, you ain't kidding.
Yeah. So you said something about shipping containers. You got shipping containers there by your house?
I do, yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere to be getting shipping containers.
Well, we have this stuff out here called pavement, and we have round wheels, and people bring them in on round wheels on the pavement, man.
Yes, no way.
Yes, sir.
Dude.
Yeah, it's actually, we sell a little bit more of those things in sheds right here where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I have some sitting in my yard. I mean, it's worth doing, but it's a small population here. But I also have them for self-storage.
Oh, okay. You have them where people can just use them.
That's right.
Yeah.
On my place. Yeah, just right here on my place. Yeah. But I mean, we have the mining industry here. The mining industry it's huge. Very, very big mining industry. And they use containers. And the people that work there are familiar with them. So they use them at their house. They use them. They buy 10 acres and put a container on it, that sort of stuff.
So what does a multi-trip 40-foot container retail for there where you're at?
Shoot, it's right around you mean like a used one?
Yeah.
A used one is going to be about 4,600, 4,900, somewhere in there. Yeah.
It's not that much different from here. A little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one-trippers right now, of course, the whole world is getting all jacked up with these tariffs, and the container world is feeling it.
I was going to get around to that, so let's just go ahead and have his conversation. Their containers are fixing to go up in price, aren't they?
They already have out here.
Really?
The one-trippers. The one-trippers have. The used ones haven't. I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah, they went up 10%.
So a one tripper, what was that retail for?
It's around 7,000.
Around 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are most of those coming in from Sacramento?
These are coming in I get them right here at my place. I get them from Salt Lake, and some from Long Beach, and then over in Fallon, we get most of those from Long Beach.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. All right. That's crazy.
And I don't know what I don't know what the best way. Oakland is closer than Long Beach is, but we got a really good relationship with a company down there that they're really better on their used ones specifically. But They're the ones that kind of helped us get this thing up and going, and it's not that much better. I think one trippers are harder to come by in Oakland.
Okay.
Southern
That
California,
makes-
Southern California has a lot bigger supply of those one trippers.
I got you. That makes sense. Do you sell more of the one than the other, or can you not really tell?
Usually we sell more one trippers.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'd want to ask Kevin Cook here. I would have guessed we sell more multi-trip ones than we do one trippers, but now I'm gonna ask him. I'm curious about that. I just don't feel like I see many one trippers around. Like most of them we have around here, they're a little bit beat up. Nobody cares. It's a container. They're decent. You might have to patch a hole here or there or something, but
I'm sure there's a little bit different in culture you know how that is. There's a little bit difference in one part of the country versus the other. I don't really know what would drive that
yeah,
completely different out here. One thing we usually just have more one trippers sitting around. Maybe
okay.
that's what does it.
Yeah, maybe it does.
We
You sell
stock
what
those
you
things.
have.
We stock a little bit more of them, and
Yep.
out here they're tan, and they fit right in, like they blend
Yeah.
right into the desert very well, and
Yep.
with the other colors that are people paint their stuff, and I don't know. I don't know why that would be different from one
Huh.
place to the other, but
Well, and my perception might be wrong on it too.
Introducing the Challenger, the revolutionary new shed mover that's taking the industry by storm. The Challenger features a touchless design, ensuring it only makes contact at the end of the skids and the bottom of the floor joists, so rest easy knowing your gable walls will remain pristine. Worried about reliability? Fear not, the Challenger is always up for the challenge and will not overturn or scuff your shed. Harness the power of innovative wireless technology. Remotely control the Challenger via your smartphone. No cell service needed. And guess what? The cell phone remote comes standard with every Challenger at no extra cost. Featuring floating forks, a 4-directional tilting mast, and sliding weight transfer, move the shed weight precisely where you need it to get ultimate traction. With self-loading capability, straight onto your truck, say goodbye to the need for a hydraulic carriage. The Challenger makes your job easy and more efficient. Choose from 2 machine sizes, 10,000 pounds and 15,000 pounds. Perfect for any job. Visit www.shedchallenger.com or email us at info@shedchallenger.com or call or text 828-220-3508 for more information. Experience the future of shed moving with the Challenger.
What's on shed side? What's your average size shed that you're selling?
10 by 20.
10 by 20.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're still mostly doing sheds, or are you finding you're going more into, are you getting into anything that you know is being used for housing?
Oh boy, out here, they're not too friendly to housing with those things.
So you don't deal with that much.
These people think deal with it as far as what?
As far as people trying to buy them and use them for housing.
People do that, yeah. But if they go to the building department, our building departments think they're in California, and
Yeah.
it's bizarre. It's the most bizarre thing you'll ever see. The one thing that's about it is we have these huge counties, and the population is all in town. You know, the population centers. You get away from town, it really can be a long ways between houses.
Yeah.
And I forgot to tell you, when I drive from here to Fallon, I just thought of this the other day. When I'm not by that little town, after I leave my valley, I drive by, within a mile of the road, there might be 2 houses. It ain't like I'm driving through a bunch of farms and remote,
Nothing.
there is nothing out there. It's 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 big desert country
Oh
and
my word. That's crazy.
sagebrush everywhere, mountains.
Yeah.
Uh, but why was I saying that? I just went down a rabbit trail that I don't know.
I was asking about people buying them to live in.
Yeah. So the county I live in and Nye County, which is the next county to the south, um, we don't have no building codes. There are no building codes. And so you do it here. I just set a neighbor up with one the other day, and he's going to live in it. But in
Yeah.
those other counties, like we
No.
can't promote them. We can't really promote them as
Yeah.
livable. We don't. They're not inspected for that.
Yeah.
We tell our customers, listen up, because they'll come and say, you know how they do. Hey,
Yeah.
I want to live in this thing. I said, okay, that's fine. You just get your building department to sign off on that,
Yeah.
and we'll get you a building. But no,
Yeah.
no, there's not there. But there's people that do it. There's plenty of people that buy them and never get a permit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we still have that even here. There's still areas you can hide them, put them
Yeah.
up, get a living in them, and nobody catches them. But yeah, for the majority of the part, they're going to get busted pretty quick.
Now, where you live, are they county building codes or city building codes or both?
We have county building codes. Each city has their own set of codes that they can adhere to, or they can use county codes. So some of your bigger cities, you get up to, I don't know, 7,500, 10,000 people. They're pretty quick to have their own guy on board. They'll run their own set of codes separate from county. And they can do that as a municipality. They can do that. But then like Williamston, they prefer to just let it run through county, and you can do that too.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
some of the cities are easier to work with than the county. And then some of the cities, you just might about forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it is here. It's all county. Reno probably has, I don't know if Reno even has their own.
Yeah.
I think it's about all county, and it's definitely
Yep.
some are much, even over in California. In California, you're running a whole bunch of mess. And I was just dealing with one here in the last week that, bringing a bunch of stuff we never heard of before. And we haven't been to that county very often. And so I think that we just got a building department that is doing things different than the other people do. Is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it happens. Even our counties aren't all the same. They all say they're going by the same code book, but then they apply it differently.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds you of churches in the Bible. We're all reading the same Bible, and we all got different rules.
Oh, good grief, ain't that the truth?
So I used to build houses here. I built houses in South Georgia, built houses in Kentucky, and they all say they go by the, residential code book. And everywhere I've ever been, even county to county, city to city, it never fails. They all got their own little pet peeves that they play up to, and they all got this they don't like, and this they do like.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time, I used to hold up my big old book, my code book, and I'd be like, are you going by this, or are you going by what you like in it or don't like in it, because you never know.
That's a fact. That's a fact. They I don't know how they come up with I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, the crazy thing about it is that, the International Residential Code, what happens in Northern California is completely different than what happens in Middle Georgia or what happens in Missouri.
You mean as far as the demands on the structure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying the natural demand,
That's
the
right.
dirt, the dirt, the atmosphere, the climate, the temperatures, everything changes.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I went up into Canada, on a mission trip. I'd been up there trucking numerous times back in the early 90s. And first time I went up there on a mission trip, 2003 or 4, somewhere in there. And I had a buddy up there that was a house builder. And he wanted me to, we were up in Red Lake, and the kids were doing street Bible school. And he wanted me to go out and look at a couple of his houses because he knew I built houses and stuff, you know. And I was floored. They were building their basements with treated studs and treated plywood.
Good grief.
Yeah. That's like the sorriest thing you can do to us. And for them, it doesn't matter. It's the best thing you can do. You know, it works for them. It's
Cutting
just, you know.
Wow.
So yeah.
And just I don't know. We delivered a building down to in the Bishop, California area, which is California. I mean, they're crazy over there on their building codes. And somehow this woman, I kind of wonder if I shouldn't get her to come work for us, but somehow she got her county to sign off on our building for living quarters. I mean, I asked her in every way I knew how. I'm just sitting there going, there is no way they're going to sign off. Well, yeah. And she come up, and there were a few things that we had to do. We wrapped it, which we don't normally do.
Yeah.
A couple things we did that you would do for housing. And I think the siding had to be, we used 7/16. I think it had to be, or no. We used 3/8. They had to be 7/16 or something like that. Yep. Something had to be a size bigger like that. And shoot, as far as I know, so we got paid for it. She's had it for a couple of months. I have not heard any complaints. This thing, she's going to live in it. Now, how in the world that it was never inspected during manufacturing? Nothing. We didn't have a technical that said it was legal for anything. None of those things.
Yep. Well, I know a customer can make a difference because I've seen it go the opposite way. We put sheds into areas where we never had an issue, and then a customer goes and pulls a building permit, and all of a sudden they can't have one. I don't know what they do, what they say they're going to do, or what happens, but there'll be 10 of them in a neighborhood, and then one of them can't get one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep, makes no sense.
Who you know, man?
So I kind of try to keep up with the whole shed industry regionally, Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast, and then what I call Central. You would be I guess, in my opinion, I'd put you in the Southwest a little bit, but you're almost just West. What does your rent to own picture look like?
You mean like a percentage type thing?
Yeah.
Versus retail? Boy, the last time I looked, I can't remember. It's in the 20s.
So it is that low
or something like that. Yeah.
Oh my word. That's the percentage of cash sales in the Southeast.
That's right. I know all about that.
If you were hauling out of Montezuma, you know all about it, even back then, and it's only got worse.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I know. I thought it would. I didn't know. When we started this thing, we didn't have any idea. We kind of expected it to be like. I didn't expect it to be quite as high as down there, but it was higher in COVID. It went down in COVID. It was down in the mid-teens, I think. But it's back up. It's back up in the low 20s, 23 or I don't remember what it was. I just looked at it about a month ago or something. But
that's crazy.
It's
I was going to say about getting your rent to own, but that ain't even worth fooling with.
Yeah.
That's a good. Listen, Jason and I talk about that. The Northwest up there where he's at. Now, obviously, some of the nationwide guys that have higher rentals, or I'm sure their numbers change a little bit more. But you take like Jason Kaufman up there. He's with you. Low, high teen percentage, low 20s, and it's like. He don't, that's perfectly fine with him. He don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. He does his own?
No, he's buddies with Mott's. They're double cousins and everything.
He don't want to go do the pickups and all that sort of stuff.
No, he don't. Yeah. He doesn't like doing any of that. I don't know if he's got bad memories of New York or what he's got going on. But
I'll tell you what, that was one of the things that when I was down there hauling, every now and then we'd have back. I was there in 06 and 07. That's when I was down And so I'd take anything. I was single. I didn't have no property to take care of. I was
Yeah.
there for one thing, and that was to make that business make money.
Yep.
And if I didn't have work and those rental companies had buildings to pick up, I would go pick them up. I didn't do a
Yep.
huge amount. Sometimes you didn't hardly have time to do any of them, but anytime I had time to slow season and that sort of stuff, and you get into some interesting stuff, man, and you learn how to load and move quick. Kind of becomes a game to you. I
Yep.
can
It
only
does.
imagine it's got to take a bit of a certain kind of a person to do that every day for a living.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. There's some guys. It's kind of crazy. I've watched some guys get really good at it, and then they got too good at it, and they lost their edge, and they're gone. And then I've watched some other guys. So I've always been of the opinion that if you're a company, let's just use Mike and Arlen with Westwood down here.
Yeah.
If you're a company that's all about customer service, you have drivers that are getting, they're not getting paid per shed. They're getting paid to go out there and make a customer happy. They're paid to represent a company. They're paid to be, top of the line customer service. Those guys just do not make good pickup guys.
Yes.
There are a couple. I know of a half a dozen guys across the U.S. that are fantastic delivery drivers that do fantastic at picking them back up. The majority of them, it takes a different personality. It takes a different commitment. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying the one's better than the other. I'm just saying it takes a different set of rules. It takes a different mindset. Now, that being said, I know some guys right now that have been at it for quite a few years that are doing phenomenal at doing pickups, and they haven't stressed themselves out to the max. And how they haven't, I don't know. But one of them actually had a short video the other day. He posted on the hauler page, and I was just amazed at how much he was getting reamed out, how calm and cool he was staying over it. And he'll tell you in a heartbeat, you got to de-escalate situations. You can't escalate them. That's it might look good for TikTok, but it don't work elsewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been cool to watch guys do that. And then to watch guys like Mike and Arlen still have to figure out how to keep up with that.
Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
Yeah. The thing is, it might become a game to those people, because I could see where I think I've learned that I kind of look at it like this right here. This is what I tell my wife sometimes. It's you got these high emotions, and you got this river coming off a mountain just flying down. it's high speed coming down. Think about that one time. When it comes down and hits another high speed river, you just got a big boiling mess. These
Yeah.
two jacked up people get together and they just make a big old mess. If you can be the calm river down there that this high speed river comes into, then like it doesn't matter how hard you pound that calm river, it's still
Yeah,
calm.
you're going.
It'll slow it down. It don't you can beat the crap
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how we deal with rent to. I mean, I run my own rent to own company, and so every now and then you got people that call you, or you got a call, and it's and even dealing with the shed company.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have people that got cross people. The miscommunication, people promise one thing, something didn't show. I don't, whatever the situation is, and you go in there, and if you can be decent and treat them like just like a person and start listening, you'll soon get their attention, and they'll realize that you're listening, and you're gonna do the best you can. Now there are some people every now and then are just they're
Yeah.
just
You
out
can't.
there, man.
Yeah.
They're just gonna do their crazy thing. But I guarantee if you had to do that, if you run into a whole bunch of those situations as a pickup man, even a rent to own company customer service person has got to be a special breed of people.
Yeah. Because they hear it on the phone all the time.
Oh man,
Yep.
man, and I think what you just said about how having that but see, having that customer service person, whether it's the driver or the person on the phone, if you can get them people on the phone or the person that's sitting in front of you when you're picking up to think that you have their best interest at heart,
Yeah.
you'll get a lot more. You just get something done with that. It might not
Yeah.
be what you hope to get done, but you'll make a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. I agree. Yep. So you said you're your own rent to own company. So you pretty much, are you able to track that pretty much all yourself? You got somebody doing it for you? How do you do that in-house?
Well, it's I own it separate from the shed company. Me and my partner,
Okay.
we have separate rent to own companies, and
Nice.
we do have one other company that helps us with a few things that we don't do. But yeah, we don't have the offices together. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but I run my rent to own company out of my over here where I live.
Yeah.
It pretty much runs like anything else. Buy a
Yeah.
shed, or rent a shed to a customer, and rental company pays for it, and then they start dealing with the customer.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. What's your container? I know you're branching out some with containers. What's your future look like on what do you want to do with containers?
What do I want to do with containers? Well, I don't know. I think I mean it's kind of the same as anything else. We're just a company. Here's what we do. We help this part of America live the American dream of having too much stuff. We give them a place to put it.
That's the whole thing in a nutshell right there.
We
Too
just
much stuff.
Too much stuff, and I tell people Walmart's our friend, man. Whatever was in Walmart a few months ago is now in one of our buildings, or
Yep.
you need a building to put it in, or a container. In a lot of ways, it's just another storage product. I mean, we got the mining industry out here, and we're kind of looking at some office type stuff with that around mining, construction, and of course, you have construction anywhere that uses that. There's some use for that, but it kind of seems like it's been a hard nut for us to crack very well, to get in at a very high level. But we're getting a little bit of traction in it. Basically,
Yeah.
we just take it, frame the interior out, and wire it, for an office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you as a rent-own company give that as an option?
yeah, we rent to own containers. Now, the office thing, I think I got one of them like that rented. Generally, the office thing, we try to rent the office as our shed company. We try to rent the office out to people, and because it's construction, they want it for
Yeah.
6 months or
Yeah.
12 months, whatever.
Yep.
And we've that's kind of hit or miss kind of a thing. We sell some,
Yep.
but boy, you better have some sheds. Containers ain't gonna for what
They're
we
not.
got for our operation. Containers ain't gonna keep us going. But it is a very good option. I kind of think of it like this, and I kind of think of it like there's two different kinds of people that come in there wanting something to put their stuff in. And one of them is completely fine with a beat up container or a good looking container. They're very practical. And then they've got the other people that want the same thing done. They just don't want a container in their property. They want a shed. And so
Yeah.
that's where, we're there to help them with both of them.
Yep. Are you looking for dealers for your container business?
I am not at the moment. I've kind of dabbled in that a little bit. I think I talked to you about that before.
Yep.
I've kind of got some other things that we're trying to get taken care of at the moment. So I don't, I've got a few right now, and even that ain't really, I ain't figured out how to sell. Other people ain't figured out how to sell them.
Yep.
For me yet, for some reason. I don't know. Is you guys deal in containers? Do you move quite a few? I mean, is it worth having them?
So here's my opinion of that. It's worth having 3 or 4 of them sitting on the lot. So here's what I'm struggling with right now. And I've had this conversation with numerous people lately. Now, if you're like you do, one trippers and they look pretty good and they're that neutral tan color, that's fine. We don't have those on our lot right now because, like I said, we just don't move those. But in my personal opinion, for what I like to see on a lot, it's a way to get traffic in. And while they're in there looking at a container, they see a shed they like.
Yeah.
So you might not, I just see it as a sale. It might not be a container sale. Here's the problem I have with all the containers I see around us here locally. Just go to Sherwin-Williams and buy a 5-gallon can of paint and paint the thing.
Yeah.
Looks awful. But I can't get anybody to understand that. I told Aaron today, literally today, Aaron and I were we were driving by a couple lots, and he wanted to know about the whole container thing because we just started getting them on Shed Gal's lot, and partially my fault. I dropped the ball and didn't tell Susan that Kevin wanted to do them, but they finally got a couple of them out there, and he was looking at them because he's looking for a container, right? He wants 2 containers that he can put in a hole he's got. He's going to put them together, weld them, cut the middle out, and he's going to do a bunker down there for his man cave, which is fine. Yeah. So he's looking at them and he's paying attention. He's like, oh, this guy got some too. And I'm like, what do you notice about all of them? He's like, well, it don't matter to me because I'm going to put them in the ground, but they're ugly. It wouldn't hurt to just go out there and spray some paint on them. It doesn't matter if it's chipped up or whatever, as long. So that was I guess that's my one hang up on it. But back to your question, I still think they bring traffic in. People drive by and they're like, oh, he's got containers. Let's swing in there and see what he can do. It's pretty competitive around here. There's probably 1, 2, let me think. I know there's a dozen places within 30 minutes of me I can go buy a container.
Good grief.
So, and some of them are right beside the interstate. They have them they're stacked as tall as that poor little monster forklift can get them up, 4 or 5 high. Yeah. And mini mobiles here. And what's the other one? There's 3 national ones here that all have them.
They're out here too. Mobile.
I can't. And then there's a couple guys that have them on shed lots, and there's a couple guys that just sell them on container lots, completely on their own. They have the little Landau trailers, and and then there's one guy right here close to me, actually, Mr. Bill, who does what you're talking about. He rolls them into a shop, puts doors in them, puts bars over windows, and fixes them up into construction containers to offices or whatever you want, man cave looking things.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. This was part 1 of a 2-part episode, so be sure to listen next week to finish today's podcast.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.